Hey guys, what's going on? We got another PvP arena video here, and this time we are doing solo shuffle. Um, so I had an issue here with one of my add-ons, Gladius EX. The arena frames didn't pop up, so I had to make do with the default frames, which are terrible. I don't know what happened to them. They used to be like half decent, but they suck now. They really do. So I tried reloading. I had to go into edit mode and adjust these default frames, and it made things worse in a way. I don't know. They really didn't work out. But anyways, I am fighting an Affliction Lock, Boomkin, and a Sub Rogue, along with a Mistweaver and Holy Priest. In this, you probably saw me earlier. I swapped to Stormweaver. If you didn't know, the Shaman's got or Enhancement specifically got a buff to Healing Surge. We got a 15% buff. I know everybody's probably like, whoa, whoop-de-doo. Yeah, pretty much. But Stormweaver is definitely helping in a way. I don't have to spend the Maelstrom on the Healing Surges anymore. I just have to use that. So I've been playing around it. I haven't done too much arena since the patch dropped. I've been more focused on PvE, but yeah. Anyways, let's get into this. So because my arena frames are all messed up, I'm not kicking like I should be. Like, as you can see, that Boomkin's cast bar is super duper tiny, and I'm like trying to look for it, but at the same time trying to focus and keep an eye on this rogue and make sure he's getting controlled. So main priority here is going to be actually hitting the rogue, and I know a lot of people don't do that, but I can't really run around and chase the Boomkin too much, so I have to be very careful with my positioning. Although I do want to force him into bad positions, it just doesn't work out. As you can see here, we got the rogue very low, which means, yeah, we can actually push him pretty good. And the Affliction Warlock is doing his best to spread pressure as well as CC the one we are on exactly. So here they go for another burst, so I go ahead and trinket the kidney. I want to make sure I have Burrow ready for another issue. I don't want to use everything at once against the sub-rogue, mainly because you never know when they're going to duel, and there's his duel on our priest. It's kind of scary, so I go ahead and lasso the Boomkin. I basically just want to stop his damage, and then there we got the rogue very low, but he ended up surviving with Shadow Meld, and I believe Cheat Death kept him alive too. So he has evasion up, so I can't really hit him or worry about him. So I kind of run in, I get back to hitting him. I dropped grounding just in case the Boomkin, but he got feared, so it's quite unfortunate. Here I should have kicked that and then pre-walled, but I screwed up and it did not work. There I was certain I could get a burrow off, but I guess it didn't queue up in time. It seemed really weird, but it's unfortunate. But I missed the clone, so that was a big issue there. It wasn't really the priest or the warlock's fault. It was my problem. I missed up the clone. So I'm hoping the update to Gladius has worked. I haven't done any arenas since. This kind of triggered me that it wasn't working. So, but the warlock ended up leaving on the 5th round, so it kind of put a damper on things. And although this is my second round of solo shuffles, I am 2350 MMR, so it is definitely up there in a real pain. And all these players, you know, they're fairly good at what they're doing and stuff like that, so they kind of understand what to do. Here the rogue goes full bore into me, pops everything, his duel and everything, so I just try and, you know, stagger him with micro CCs with Sunder and stuff, and heal myself with the Stormweaver buff. So because I don't want to use Burrow, and I don't want to, I could have walled, but I want to kind of save that for later on. You know, I just want to make sure I can have something for every go he does. So there he pops Smoke Bomb, but doesn't quite get me because I had a trinket. I trinketed his kidney, and I was able to walk out of the Smoke Bomb. Here I probably could have walled a bit early, just to save the priest a bit of mana. But as you can see, we're just pumping damage. The Boomkin is probably going to go for some Cyclones here in a second. I go ahead and lasso the Warlock just to kind of stop a little bit of damage. and I don't want to put the rogue on too much of a DR in case the boomkin wants to bash him or something. And there's the priest stun, so I switch to him, get a whole lot of damage on him. He's very, very low, forcing a bit of extra healing from the monk. And here I go for a hex. I eat the warlock hex, so that means both my excuse me, both my boomkin and my priest have free reign of casting. That's why he went ahead and got the mind control on him, and then there the rogue falls over because the boomkin got the root beam. So there, I think the monk could have tiger lusted, but I don't know if you can do that while silenced, so I'm not quite sure. But here it's me and the rogue against boomkin warlock. This is a very scary matchup. It came up very close. Our main focus is going to be kind of the boomkin, but we also just, you know, everybody's kind of a target when you have a sub rogue. Whoever has the least amount of defensives end up being your target, and you just want to do as much damage as possible. So when you're with a rogue, make sure you wait for them to go in for a sap, or try and let them do the stunning. Now, on the lower MMR side of things, you know, maybe the rogues aren't as amazing or good, but once you get up there, rely on your rogue for CC, because they're going to have all the DR timers and everything prepped up, and you don't want to disrupt that at all. So you want to try and keep that as little disruption as possible from your rogue. That's why you won't see me do lasso too much. But here the priest pops Guardian Angel very early, or not GA, Redemption I guess it would be. And here I take a lot of damage, so I go ahead and Trinket Wall because I know they're going to be pumping us because they're both rot type classes. So I just kind of want to do the same thing and rot both of them and let my sub rogue do the switching around and make sure I keep this druid from CCing our monk too much. So that's my main focus, is put pressure on everybody and let the sub rogue decide who he wants to kill, because he's going to inevitably have the last call on who dies and who doesn't, because he has all the setup. If you're an enhancement shaman, you're just there to split pressure and kind of disrupt everybody from doing what they want to do. So here the druid really wants to cyclone on the monk, so I go ahead and knock him just to prevent him. I wasn't quite aiming for him to go LOS from our healer. I was kind of wanted him to be against the wall away from their healer, but he ended up pushing, which was kind of okay. It does kind of prevent our healer from being CC'd, so I go ahead and hex their monk. We get a nice kick on the cyclone. He jumps in LOS, and as you can see, the rogue went in for a cheap shot. He knows exactly how he wants to set this up. So that's why I'm just letting the lassos go. I don't want to lasso too much, putting them on DR or anything. I lassoed there just to prevent a little bit of damage. It didn't quite work out too well. Didn't do too much. But here the boomkin pushes in really, really far. Our healer is kind of CC'd. And there's a really nice spoke bomb, keeping our healer alive, using it very defensively, and I love that. But the priest made the mistake of pushing in against the sub rogue and getting cheap shotted. That's a thing that really happens quite often, is you don't suspect the rogue to cheap shot you or anything, so you want to stay away if you're the healer, or even DPS. If you're trying to help out your teammate, you have to be careful, because sub rogues are constantly in their shadow dance, always able to have that cheap shot available for you. Sub rogues are very scary. They don't look like they do a whole lot of damage, but they do a whole lot of burst scenarios and keep your entire team CC'd. That is what they're aiming for, right? They're a CC monster with a quick burst scenario. So you have to be very careful. If you're fighting one, you want to try and get combat so you can prevent any saps going off. And there I actually got a root off, so we went in for the boomkin. Here I go ahead and lasso the warlock. One, I triggered the stun, so that put me on stun DR from the priest. So it gave me a bit of leeway against the rogue. And then it also stopped a bit of the warlock's damage. You know, it would have been either a trinket or a stun, I believe. So I took the pre-stun, which helped it a lot. And here, they really want the boomkin. So my focus is to keep an eye on the warlock. I should be kicking him constantly, but I was more focused on the healer kicks. I should have been kicking the warlock, stopping his damage as much as possible. But I was really focused on the priest kicks. So here, I saw a lot of CC coming in. I don't have Tremor Totem. So they make another swap onto the Boomkin. Here I should have reapplied Earth Shields as well. And then I go ahead and lasso the rogue, just stopping a bit of damage, right? So if you have lasso, try and use it as much as possible, but do watch for DRs. Here the rogue goes for our monk. He uses Shadowy Duel, but ends up getting, you know, shut down on it, unfortunately, on his part. But here they go for me. I don't have anything, so I go ahead and burrow. I'm safe right now. I am taking away from rotting damage, but I'm giving the monk time to get me alive and keep the boomkin. The boomkin gets a nice clone on the warlock, forcing a trinket from him. So now neither of them have trinkets. And there the priest went for a cast, and I got the interrupt. And then here we start blasting the warlock, forcing him LOS. Now everybody's kind of dying. I eat a cheap shot from the rogue. Unfortunately, I could have got a hex off. But he ended up getting the cyclone. Here I should have just went for another hex on the priest. I go ahead and knock. I don't know why I did that, but then I lasso, eating the rogue kick, meaning the boomkin has free reign on cyclones. So here we're just pumping, pumping, pumping. I drop a grounding totem because I don't want too much damage going out, and I want to stop anything else that comes out, right? So here I'm taking a whole lot of damage. There's nothing I can do. The monk goes ahead and bubbles, and then we start pumping into this rogue. He's taking a whole lot of damage. The redemption popped by the priest, and then he has to drop it in order to life swap to save him. And then here, the rogue is all after our boomkin. I'm taking a buttload of damage here, so I'm just trying to heal and, you know, keep myself alive. That's where the storm weaver, as you can see, I'm doing a whole lot of healing, but I'm not putting down my tide totem at all. Here I should have lassoed the rogue. Just stop him while he's in the duel. Nobody can stop me either. And he ends up getting swept by the monk, which was huge. I went for the hex on the warlock so he can't fear anybody. So he can't CC and stop anybody's damage. So I go ahead and lasso the rogue here now. Just hit him with the sunder. So that combo there is a big one, especially for when people are very low. I lasso, right? At the last second, hit the sunder, and it causes a little micro CC to prevent him from getting anything. And then here, I believe this was the... No, this is where I get absolutely blasted by the rogue and the boomkin. And I used every defensive I had, but I could not stay alive. But yeah, that combo lasso into sunder, it prevents them from using any defensives. Like if he had cloak, he couldn't use it because I incapped him and then hit him again, which caused him to fall over without cloak or whatever, right? So it just prevents them from using anything. There I got him CC'd in a root, but somehow broke, and he's just monstering me, right? So I'm just spamming burrow. I use it. I'm still low. I'm waiting. The monk gets full cheap shot, or kidney shot, unfortunately. And here I'm just healing. I have wall. I use it pretty late, unfortunately. And the monk's just powered in with frickin' micro CCs. I get bubbled by him. But now we have absolutely nothing. There is nothing we could do. I probably could have went... I should have. So what I should have done there at the very start is Trinket Burrow. Just Trinket Burrow, stop the rogue's damage. But there he gets blinded, and I just fall over. I'm trying to pump myself full of heals, but yeah, it was quite unfortunate. It was a mistake on my part. I should have trinketed the opening kidney as soon as he dueled me and burrowed. But yeah, like I said at the start of this video, the warlock leaves here, so it's quite lame on his part. I really think the penalty for leavers should go up significantly. It's kind of lame. But yeah, since this is the final part, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!